coming to you again today for the first time in a while because something is bugging me. I've been using Nikon cameras for most of my life. I have not one, but two Nikon belt buckles. That's how much I love my Nikon cameras. Imagine my dismay when I found out that I could not get a Nikon camera repaired. I even have the original box for it. This is my Nikon D750 box, and if you notice, it says body. This did not come with the lens. It was body only, and I very likely purchased this from Amazon as a refurb. Over the years, I've become acquainted with the idea of buying refurbished equipment, mainly with power tools. I think that the first refurbished items I purchased were from the Sears service and repair facility here in town. I'd gone to get some parts, and I noticed they had a display with some refurbished tools, and they were considerably cheaper than buying them new at the main store. So this was a ways down the road from the mall where the Sears store was located. I was looking to save a buck, and I kept buying more and more refurbished tools. When Amazon came along years later, I kept buying them that way. I bought multiple power tools at a discount because they were labeled refurbished. That was the case with this. It was labeled refurbished on the website. This and another camera body that I purchased, a D810, when this one got damaged. Now, the serial number does match what's on the body. If you scrutinize this, you'll see there are two barcodes. There's one for the camera body and one for the lens. Since it did not have the lens, they didn't mark it out. It was just the body. And like I said, that matches the body. Here I have the body. Now, why is it boxed up, you ask? Was it shipped to you from somewhere? The answer is yes. It was shipped to me from Nikon. So here's the story. I purchased the refurbished Nikon D750 body from an Amazon vendor a few years ago. I cannot find record of that transaction through Amazon. I find other cameras I've purchased. I find maybe the D300 I bought many years ago, almost a decade or more than a decade ago. The 810 and the 750 do not appear. They were purchased from Amazon, but something fishy is going on, and it has to do with Nikon's draconian policy towards repairs. The D750 suffered a damaged SD card slot just a few weeks after purchasing. I don't know why I didn't think about getting it repaired. Even if I had thought about a warranty claim, it would not have worked for the simple reason that Nikon will not repair non-USA equipment. What I should say is Nikon USA will not repair non-Nikon USA equipment. Does that make sense? Even though Nikon is a Japanese corporation, it has subsidiaries in other countries. Here in the US, where I live, it's Nikon USA. The logo shouldn't say Nikon, it should say Nikon USA if this were a USA body, but apparently it's not. I went online to their repair page, and it's a really terrible interface. Entered the serial number, the problem I was having with the camera, and they even kicked out an estimate for the cost of the repair. I had to authorize that charge to my credit card. I had to enter this serial number into the web page to initiate the repair process. Now, it wasn't until it got to California, to the repair facility in Signal Hill, California, that they told me that this was a gray market item and that they would not repair it. Through no fault of my own, I purchased what was represented to me as a refurbished camera body. When I go to have it repaired, the Nikon USA facility will not repair it. I've done some research about this. I found that Nikon does have one of the most draconian policies regarding their cameras, the repair policy. Now let me point out something else. When I attempted to initiate this repair, the website could have kicked this back immediately. It could have filtered out the serial number of the camera and said, hold up, that's not going to work. They could have saved me the time, the expense, the trouble of shipping this to Signal Hill, California, because there were some complications. I thought I would save myself some trouble by using the shipping desk at my place of work. That turned out to be a mistake. I don't even want to get into it. But I will say this. Due to one thing or another, the shipping person got something backwards and shipped it to my home address instead of shipping it to California. So the very next day, the camera was returned to me. I should have taken that as a sign. There it is. Unbeknownst to me, I had purchased a gray market camera. It really is a shame because in an economy like the one that we're in right now, when people are trying to save money, instead of buying a new camera body, I'm trying to repair an older one. They could have had my money. They had the facility, they had the parts, they had the personnel to repair this. Yet, due to their policy, they would not repair this camera. This isn't the first time I've been upset with the parts and repair people from Nikon. A few years ago, I had a D200 body, and I had the extra battery pack for it. The retaining clips on the auxiliary battery holder had failed. They were made of inferior material, and they came apart. So the batteries would not stay in their place. They could not be held securely in place. I was taping the battery door shut for a while, then I decided I would look up the part numbers, see if I could buy them and replace them myself. And that wasn't a problem. At that time, those parts were available. I found the parts list, I found the exploded diagram, identified the parts, placed an order, and they arrived. Those also failed a few months later, so I bought another set. That set failed. In retrospect, I wish I'd bought 20 or 30 of those tabs, but I didn't. So the next time I went to obtain the parts, I hit a roadblock. Those parts weren't available for purchase anymore. And I called and talked to somebody and I asked, well why is that? This is the third or maybe fourth set I've attempted to order. And I was simply told that out of concern for the customer's safety, Nikon was no longer selling those parts. There was a danger of injury, possibly electrocution, if I went into that battery holder and replaced those tabs like I had multiple times before. If there really is a chance of injury, shouldn't these things be labeled like with big red letters? Be careful putting batteries in this explosive danger. So that was a few years ago. That was with the D200, maybe a 300, probably a 200. The 300 was made better. I noticed that those tabs, those retaining clips on the battery holder were a different color for one thing, suggesting that the material was different, possibly better than what they had before. I forgot about that and kept on buying Nikon equipment, mainly the lenses, a body whenever I could, a refurbished one. In my research, I looked up what these serial numbers meant, and it turns out the first digit tells you the country of origin. And I looked up an older camera body that I had. It had a 3. Sure enough, on the website I looked up, the 3 was the USA number. That camera would be okay to get repaired should I need it. However, this one starts with an 8. My D810 starts with a 5. These numbers suggest that this was a Nikon UK camera, and the other one might be Canadian. I did contact Nikon UK and ask them, and they want me to confirm the serial number. That may be what I have to do. So there you have it. That's my beef with Nikon. If you are considering buying a Nikon camera, be aware of these gray market cameras that exist out there and be mindful of which country you're in. Nobody will touch this thing. Nobody, absolutely no one, even remotely affiliated with Nikon, will touch these. It's like Nikon is after these people. Apparently they will come after them if they service these cameras. I do love the cameras that I have, and I enjoy mainly using the lenses. But I'll tell you one thing, I'm seriously considering my next purchase, and I feel like it's going to have the name Sony on it, and not Nikon. Now, another thing to point out about draconian repair policies is Canon will, for a fee, repair a gray market camera. So if I had purchased a Canon, they would have said, oh, you've got a gray market camera, cross our palm with some silver and we will repair it. Not so with Nikon. You're stuck in a big way. Fortunately, this camera has 2 memory card slots. I've been limping along with the other one, lo these many years. Yeah, as I recall, something came undone. Something got in the way. I think there's a piece of plastic that came dislodged. I think I can see it now. But whenever I touch the number 1 slot, it gets agitated. Anyway, again, if you're considering getting a Nikon camera and are considering getting a refurbished unit, it's probably best that you don't do that. There you have it. That's my rant. Until next time, transcend the bullshit.